League of Tomorrow's back. Bringing you fantasy advice today to help you win your leagues tomorrow. Today we have our week 3 takeaways and players you should buy in week 4. Don't forget, if you love it, put a ring on it, hit that bell and subscribe, like and comment. That'd be a lot appreciated. It helps us with the algorithm. If you hate it and think we suck donkey dick,
dude, you
then put it in the comment section. Do I need to redo that part?
If you guys love it, you gotta put a ring on it, and like algorithms are gonna make us like YouTube.
And don't forget, if you like our if you love our
if you like our cock, dear goodness, you want me to do it?
Put a cock ring on it.
I can literally do this. Watch this. Hey, don't forget, if you love what we're doing, hit a like, comment, and subscribe. Because guess what? This is the stuff that's going to help you win tomorrow.
I am joined by my one, only co-host, Cebastian Tekin. How you doing today?
It's me, here to help you win your league.
My first buy candidate is Jeudy. So in 2021, Jeudy had 5.6 targets per game, 46.7 receiving yards a game, compared to Cortland Sutton's 45.6 receiving yards per game, with Jeudy having 3.8 receptions a game to Sutton's 3.41 receptions a game. Very similar stats. So in order to bend the cheeks and dive a little bit deeper into it to make sure you get the full workload. Or workload.
Are we talking about the Eagles with the brotherly love here, or?
We're going to dive into when they were on the field together, because Jeudy only played 10 games last season. In those last 10 games, you had Jeudy going for 3.8 catches a game and 46.7 yards a game. That's compared to Sutton's 1.8 receptions a game and 18.6 receiving yards a game. It's not to say that Cortland Sutton isn't going to be a great top 15 wide receiver going forward, but the discrepancy between him being a top 15 to 12 wide receiver and Jeudy being a top 24 wide receiver, or top 36 wide receiver in most people's opinions, I just don't think it is a case to be made where they're that far apart. I think either of them can emerge as the number one wide receiver for this offense.
I think this is something we've probably seen in the past when Peyton Manning came to the Broncos, Tim Tebow. Now you're going to compare wide receivers and a quarterback that's not very good when they had Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater last year. To me, those stats don't matter because, number one, it doesn't matter percentage or anything because they threw so little, they threw so bad. And honestly, if you look at the two wide receivers in comparison, Cortland Sutton, yes, he looks like a 1, and Jeudy looks like a B. So he's honestly easy to trade for because he's looking bad this year. Cortland Sutton is outperforming in every way possible. Last week he was super hyper-targeted. This week he was super hyper-targeted against the 49ers with 97 yards, while Jeudy had 6 targets, a couple drops, 2 catches, and 17 yards. Do you want to go get Jeudy? You can get him cheap. You can put him in your lineup. And he's not going to do anything for you. Sure, he'll have some of those boom games. His routes are great. But he's dropping everything. In 2021, he led the league in drops. And since he's been in the league, he's had more drops than any wide receiver. So, do you want a receiver who can't catch and has good routes? Sign Jeudy on your team. And you can trade
or
for him.
Jamar Chase, because he had a problem catching the ball last year. And what did he
preseason,
do?
Actually, it was not the regular season.
As a rookie?
It was not the regular season, though. His regular season drops were not that high compared to what it was in preseason and training camp.
Drops are a more abysmal number where, even back in the day when Raiders had Amari Cooper, he dropped a lot with Michael Crabtree leading drops in the NFL. But as soon as he went to Dak Prescott and the Cowboys and was traded there, that he succeeded and he didn't have those drops. It's more of a mindset thing that can be reversed. Drops aren't a stat that I am looking forward to say, I don't want this guy. He's dropping balls. He's getting the targets and targets are earned. That means he was open on that route and he's earning those routes. And you're acting like Sutton has done so much better than Jeudy this season. But when they played week 1, Who had more fantasy points, Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton?
Week 2 and week 3.
Week 2, Jerry Jeudy was hurt. I have not been able to watch week 3 because we record these podcasts Sunday night games before they're finished. And Jeudy is playing, Sutton is playing on the Sunday night game. But I don't care if Cortland Sutton in this one game sample size outproduces Jerry Jeudy. Because in the long term, Jerry Jeudy will be able to put up competent numbers compared to Cortland Sutton. It's a 1A, 1B situation. And to think that Cortland Sutton's a wide receiver 12 and Jeudy is a top 30 wide receiver at best is a very ridiculous argument to make, which is why I think that Jerry Jeudy is one of the best buy targets right now for his price point, right? You can go sell a Miles Sanders for him right now, a Clyde Edwards-Helaire for Jerry Jeudy.
So
go give me that. Either of those guys, I would love to trade them for a guy like Jerry Jeudy who has top 12 upside.
I don't see any top 12 upside for it. In fact, the only thing that I see is there's a 1 and a 2. If Russell Wilson can actually start playing a lot better, he's not looking at the blitzes as well as he did. First of all, against the Niners, there was too many times where he got panicked and just, caused it to be a sack or some other dumb play that's not going. But if this is the way he's going to play the rest of the season, it's going to be Cortland Sutton is 1, and Jerry Jeudy will be barely a flex play option. He's going to have games where he'll have 2 points, 5 points, or maybe he'll have that one big game. But Cortland Sutton is going to be way more consistent, and he's going to have more yards, more touchdowns, and he's going to be looked at more because he's the first read Russell Wilson is looking at.
My second buy candidate for this week is Najee Harris, where he scored abysmal under 11 points per game in PPR settings through this entire 3-week span of the NFL season. Why I think he is a buy low is because when he is on the field, he's getting over 70% of the carries, of the snap count when healthy. Last year it was up to 90. Obviously, you can't do that your entire NFL career, but 70% at the minimum is a great line to have and gives you that great floor, where I think in these 10, 11, 12-point games, he's only shown his floor because this week he could have scored 3 touchdowns. One of them he was stuffed at the goal line, one of them he scored, and the other, Mitchell Trubisky, after he got stuffed, ran it himself. So I just think that he has a very high floor and is still that top 15 running back we have seen since he was a rookie. I mean, he was a top 5 when he was a rookie. So top 15 is bottom line his floor, and people aren't valuing him this way. I've seen trades where you get Najee Harris for Damian Harris and a small piece, like a Tyler Lockett and a Damian Harris for Najee. And I just don't even think that's close to be able to get a certifiable top 12 running back for that price. So I just think he's such an easy buy low for me.
My thoughts coming into this season for Najee Harris, I had a lot of worries. Number 1, offensive line. Number 2, offense. Number 3, is this guy going to be utilized? And I wasn't sure. However, the page.
These were all the same worries we had last year when he finished as a top 5 back.
You're right. And he was a top 5 back last year with Ben Roethlisberger, who's still a better quarterback than any quarterback he has. Now, looking at that, it's kind of, it feels weird because Ben Roethlisberger was terrible last year. However, his quarterbacks now are even worse. So he's going to get less opportunity because they're not going to have as many first downs. He's going to get less targets because Big Ben liked to check it down more, especially with his noodle arm that he had at this stinking year. And now he's got Mitch Trubisky.
That looks very proficient. I do believe once Kenny Pickett
He wasn't proficient, though.
Kenny Pickett?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Najee Harris.
No, I'm talking about Kenny Pickett. He's a proficient QB. He's more proficient than Ben Roethlisberger would be last year if he stepped into the game. And I do expect that to happen before week 5. There's no way Mitchell Trubisky starts another 3 games.
If Ben Roethlisberger's on the team right now, he would be starting over Kenny Pickett. He would be starting over Mitch Trubisky. There's no way that he wouldn't be the starter.
I don't care if he is a starter. Hold on. Shut your f***ing
yapper. No. Here's my point.
No.
Mitch Trubisky is starting over the other person. Therefore, he's a better quarterback right now due to the coach who is a very successful NFL head coach.
That is true, but you can't get less proficient than Ben Roethlisberger was last year. Do you know what he?
No, you can. You have the quarterback.
Do you know what he qualified among qualifying QBs?
Better than the two on the team
for
right now.
proficiency last year.
Better than the
in
two on the team right now.
2021, it was 34th overall. Okay, there's 32 teams in the NFL. It's not going to get worse. Knock your dumb shit off. Put your cap on straight and listen when I say that it can't get worse for Najee Harris. This is Najee Harris's floor.
Terrible.
And this is what you need to understand. He's getting the passing work. He is getting the rushing work. Despite that O-line and offense, he could have had 3 touchdowns this week. So he is an easy buy low candidate because how cheap you are able to get him. So for our next guy, it is Cebastian's buy target. So give me a good buy target you have after week 3.
Okay, so check this out. A little friend told me about a running back who is getting 4.6 yards per carry in an offense where he's taking most of the offensive snaps, even when he's sick. And the little guy is Luisi over here. And guess what? This guy is in Josh McDaniels' offense. What is Josh McDaniels known for when he was with the Patriots? Pass casting running backs, screens, all kinds of like trick plays and whatnot that help the running back. What's happening with the Las Vegas Raiders right now? They're running very efficiently with Josh Jacobs. People were worried about a guy like Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden that he took specifically from the Patriots. Well, guess what? Week 1, Zamir White inactive. Brandon Bolden got a couple snaps, sure, but the bulk of the carry, week 1, 2, even week 3, where he was sick. He didn't even look like he was going to play that game. And he got the majority of the snaps. And if you watch the guy play, he's making people miss. He's looking really good. He's getting yards. And in fact, since he's been in the league, he's been in the top 10 for making people miss. Yeah, sometimes the offensive line is not great. Don't get me wrong. However, they're run blocking just fine for this guy. It's looking great. They're running draws that are putting the defenders way far back, and then he hands his running back, boom, big hole, 5-10 yards. It's looking really great for Josh Jacobs. And in fact, he has yet to score a touchdown. He's going to easily score, 8 to 10 touchdowns this year, whether it's through the air or through the ground. And that hasn't happened yet, so they're going to be coming soon. He's the kind of guy who can get 2 touchdowns a game.
I'd love to fight you about this because I like to call you out for being a dumbass, but in week 1, this was, one of my biggest calls to Josh Jacobs. You weren't selling Josh Jacobs. You need to at least hold him. And at this point in what he's produced, he's easily a buy candidate. I mean, you're getting him dirt cheap. To point on yards after contact, how you said he was top 10, he's actually averaging 3.1 yards after contact per carry or touch. To show that he is that efficient after that, and on top of that, he's averaging 15 opportunities per game. So you see both those, it's just such an easy mix to be able to go buy this guy. I don't have much else to say besides that's a pretty good take.
Perfect, because I got a few things to add on to that as well. Throughout Josh Jacobs' career, he performs the best when the Raiders do win. And they are 0-3 right now, and every game that they have lost has been within a 1 score. There are going to be games where they blow people out. There are going to be games where it's close, but they win. And in those games, Josh Jacobs is going to be a top 10, top 5 fantasy running back that week. And you're going to want that player who's also safe when they lose on your roster.
I mean, most people know the reason why Josh Jacobs was being drafted in the 6th to 7th round this year, despite him having, a top 15 finish his rookie and sophomore year and junior year, where he is a stable asset as long as he's healthy. The reason why he dropped so much is because Josh McDaniels, as a play caller, has never had a running back average over 44% of the snaps. His highest was 44. On average, it was 32%, which averages out to about the 44th in the entire NFL. So not only is every team's running back number 1 outbeating him, but a couple RBs too going to be able to beat him. But with the snap share we've seen this year, Josh Jacobs getting over 66% of his snaps this year, it shows that, like I said in the offseason, that Josh McDaniels has never had a back like Josh Jacobs to play with. So he's never had that elite asset with such a high ceiling. That is why Josh Jacobs can get more snap shares than the rest Josh McDaniels have seen.
Ultimately, talent wins, so.
Opportunity is king. I have a couple players from last week that I said buy or sell. These players are Leonard Fournette and Breece Hall for the bye category, right? With them each having this high-speed score, they have a pass-catching ability, and they have this 3-down skill set where they can be utilized in all fashions of the game. So these are the two guys I would like to buy for running backs. And as well, I had a couple sells with CEH and Sanders where they were like poking a hole in a condom and saying, hey, it worked the last couple of weeks. I can get by it again. I would just think they are not stable with, Miles Sanders not having that touchdown upside with Hurts being able to run it in. He's only scored, 10% of the total offensive touchdowns. CEH has over-succeeded with a low-speed score. They just both don't look that great.
So, here's the deal. If you're going to be poking holes in your condom, number one, I don't know why. That kind of seems like useless, dumb. However, when you poke your own condom, you're going to have a baby. And it's going to be a baby boy. He's going to be a chubby little boy.
But it worked last week.
Yeah, last week. And then 9 months later, you gave birth to Leonard Fournette.
That's not a bad birth.
This guy, he's very safe, even though you weren't safe when you had him. So, here's the deal. Tom Brady loves his running backs. He's going to be passing. When he was with the Patriots, he was passing to James White. He was passing to Najee Harris. He was passing to just about any back they have. And he didn't have a lot of wide receiver weapons there. However, his weapons are better in with the Buccaneers.
Right.
Mike Evans is going to be coming back. Chris Godwin should be coming back from injury again soon. I don't know about Julio. Either way, the more weapons is actually better because when Tom Brady wants to check down, well, the defense knows, hey, you got no weapons. You got Cole Beasley, who was on the streets last week. We're going to cover the flats. We're going to cover short, and we're going to take out your running back. It's going to make it hard for him. Now, when you get Mike Evans back, it's going to, open up the field because Tom Brady can still throw the ball despite the fact that he looks very bad this year. Let's all be honest.
Well, he has no wide receivers, as you're right. saying, which is just a great point to why Leo is such a great buy aspect. Even, I had this take last week, but still to this date, it's further. He might be a little bit cheaper, but he had 5 receptions this week.
For 35, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But with Mike Evans and even Godwin back, not only will he get those receptions, there were so many 3-and-outs this last week that it really, imputed on what Leo Fournette could have done this game. He could have done a lot better if the offense overall was going in all cylinders, but they weren't. They were getting constant 3-and-outs. Leo was the only option. He was easier to take out of the game. He was easier to game script out of when you're throwing to a bunch of dud wide receivers. You had Cole Beasley, who was a free agent, come into that game. It shows how much that those receivers matter. For Leo Fournette. At very least, he's not going to get worse, obviously.
When it came down to the game, the absolute game, they're 2 yards away. They want to go for 2. The play that was ran originally is going to go to the player that they have the most confidence in. What did they do? It was a shotgun pass, and Tom Brady handed it off to Leonard Fournette. Now, the offensive line was dumb, and he ended up getting offsides, and they had to go back. But the fact that the very first guy they were going to go to is Leonard Fournette in that situation has to show you how much confidence that team has in their running back. Honestly, when he was drafted by the Jaguars, he was drafted to be the next Adrian Peterson. Now, was he? They used him like it, but that team was so bad. I still think he's a very talented back. You should be trading for this guy. He's still got potential. He's still talented and young. Put him on your team. Let him help you. It's disgusting. It feels disgusting, but at the same time, it's good for you. It's like eating broccoli sometimes. You don't want to eat broccoli for breakfast, but guess what? It's going to be good for you by the end of the day.